Hi, I'm Marie. Welcome to Marie's Kitchen. I'm so glad you're back. Today we're making buttermilk biscuits. When I was growing up, my grandmother always had buttermilk biscuits on the table for any holiday celebration. So they are a classic recipe in my family, and I'm really excited to share it with you. These biscuits turn out so soft and flaky. They're delicious with some honey and butter. My kids love them that way. Or for something savory, you can put sausage and cheese on the biscuit. My son loves that. Or egg and bacon, and make your own little McMuffin at home. I really think you're going to love this recipe. Let's get started. Real quick, let's go through the ingredients. First, you'll need 1 3/4 cup all-purpose flour. Next is 1 tablespoon sugar, although you can use as little as 1 teaspoon if you like it less sweet. Next is 2 teaspoons baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon baking soda, 1 teaspoon salt, and 3/4 cup cold buttermilk. We're also going to use 1 stick, 1/2 cup or 8 tablespoons of frozen unsalted butter. As far as equipment, we're going to use a bowl. We're going to grate the butter, so I'm using a handheld grater. You could use a box grater if that's easier. We're also going to use a baking sheet lined with some parchment, and that is about it. So very simple. All right, let's get cooking. To start, we'll mix together our dry ingredients. We've got 1 3/4 cup flour into a bowl. Then we have our 1 teaspoon to 1 tablespoon sugar. I'm going to go ahead and use a tablespoon. Next is the 2 teaspoons baking powder, and that will help your biscuits rise. Next is 1/2 teaspoon baking soda. And then our 1 teaspoon salt. Now we're going to mix that together. Really easy here. And then I'll grab my butter out of the freezer. We're freezing the butter because it's going to make it a lot easier to grate on the grater. If it was, room temperature, it would just kind of melt in your hands. We also want the butter to stay in little pieces, nice and cold in the dough, and that will help your biscuits rise. The butter melts, it creates steams, it gives it some air in the biscuit, and that's what makes pie crust flaky. It's what makes biscuits flaky, so that's why we want to keep our butter cold. So now I'm just going to grate the butter right into the flour. This is really easy. Okay, there we go. So we have 1 stick grated butter. Now we're just going to sort of toss this together, and we'll have all our nice little butter pieces in there with the flour. This makes a really flaky biscuit. You don't want to overmix here with your hands. Your hands are warm, and so it can melt the butter, so just kind of bring it together. That looks great. Now we'll add our 3/4 cup buttermilk. And I'm just going to bring that together with a spatula. You don't want to overmix biscuits because mixing activates gluten in the flour, and that will make your biscuits more tough. So for a really light, flaky biscuit, you want to just barely bring it together. I'm going to go ahead and use my hands a little just to bring that dough together. My hands are always my favorite tools. Looks great. Okay. I have such great memories of my grandmother having a basket of biscuits always on the table. And they were always out before, dinner was out. And so my brother and I would sneak one. We were never supposed to eat before we said grace, but we'd always sneak a biscuit or two because they were on the table. Really warm, so good with some butter. Okay, there's our dough. Now we'll add some flour to the cutting board here. Just a little bit, and then put our dough out here. And we're just going to press that out, or you can use a rolling pin. I just press it out into a rectangle here. And then what we're going to do is fold it like you would a letter. Fold here and fold here. And this is how we're creating flakes in the biscuits. So we're going to do that about 3 or 4 times. So we'll press it out again. That was 1. Very good. We'll do it again. Here's 2. Building in all those flakes. Press it out. You can use a rolling pin if you prefer, but again, I just like to use my hands. Okay, some flour there so it's not sticking, and we'll fold in again. And of course I've lost count. Okay, we'll press it out and then fold it in one more time to get those nice big flakes and layers. Okay, fold this in. Okay, and I'm going to put a little more flour on our cutting board here so it doesn't stick. And then press it out into our rectangle, and then we'll start cutting out the biscuits. There we go, we've got a nice little rectangle. Okay, now to cut out the biscuits, you'll need a biscuit cutter. You can use like a 3-inch one or a smaller one if you prefer, or you can use a glass if you don't have a biscuit cutter. Just get one with a nice round straight side. So we'll go ahead and cut out our biscuits. When you cut out biscuits, you don't want to twist. That can twist the dough around the edges and prevent it from really rising. So you want to just go straight up and down, and we can put a little flour here on our cutter. Kind of put some here so it doesn't stick. And then we'll just cut this out, and these are going to be pretty big. These are great for like the sandwiches I was talking about, breakfast sandwiches. If you want them to serve like with dinner, I'd go for a smaller cutter. So we're going to go ahead and just push straight down. And there is our biscuit. Doesn't that look great? And we'll just put it on a parchment lined baking sheet. Cut out a few more. Now we'll bring together our scraps here, press it out again, and cut out a few more biscuits. As you're bringing your scraps back together, try to work it as little as possible. Again, that's to prevent the gluten from activating, because you don't want a doughy biscuit. You want a nice flaky tall one. Okay, we'll press in and cut these out. There we go. Now we have our 6½ biscuits here, and we'll put these in the oven at 350 degrees for about 18 to 20 minutes. Okay, the biscuits are done and they look great, and they're just perfectly done. A little bit brown on the bottom, golden on top, but not overcooked either. So now if you like, you can brush with a little melted butter. This is optional. And if you don't have a pastry brush, you can always just spoon a little on top too. Just a little extra butter on top. They look gorgeous. Okay, and those are ready to serve. Just to show some options, we have some jam out and butter. That's delicious for breakfast or just sort of a tea time snack. I also have savory options with some cheese, bacon, or sausage. You can pop one of these open. See all the flakes, those layers, they just come right open. We can add a slice of cheese in there, and then a sausage patty and close that up. Maybe pop it in the oven just to melt it a little, and that is a delicious breakfast. Looks so good. Thanks so much for joining us on Marie's Kitchen. Today we made these delicious buttermilk biscuits that were so easy to make. We just used one bowl and a baking sheet, so I really hope you get to try these. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. We so appreciate your likes. Also, leave us a comment. Let us know what else you'd like to see. I'm always looking for ideas and inspiration. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. I've got lots more videos coming up, and I don't want you to miss any of them. For this recipe and more, check out my website, mariesaba.com. You can put in the search bar there, buttermilk biscuit, and this recipe should pop up, or you can go to the description box of this video, and there's a direct link to the recipe there. And when you get to the recipe, you can download and print the recipe, and what I would encourage you to do if you like is print out all your favorite recipes. Then you can punch holes in them, put them in a notebook, and you have your very own Marie's Kitchen cookbook for free. My goal is to give you some really easy recipes that turn out great every time, so you can build some confidence in the kitchen and feel really inspired to share good food with people that you love. From my kitchen to yours, thank you.